Let's talk about grades. And by the way, shout out to Teddy K for being the only one yesterday that could actually pass block and protect our quarterback to save their lives. Because everybody else seems like they crapped the bed and they didn't have the Duprees on. So it's really a mess. And by the way, shout out to Khalil Herbert, because I don't think you're coming back on this team anytime soon, man. Like, this is, you get a 1 year, we traded a 7th round pick, wasted a 7th round pick trade for you. It is what it is at the end of the day. Hopefully he does pan out better, but with that Zach Moss having another year on his contract and we have Chase Brown, it was literally just a waste of a trade. Like, we made a trade to make a trade, pretty much. Which, that seems to be, like, the major thing now. It's like they're trying to do something to, like, just say they did something. Which, again, is just, I guess, in a way, that trade for Khalil Herbert, I feel like is part of the problem. We've been saying, hey, you got to make a trade. You got to go get someone. You got to do something, Bengals. Come on. And they go out and they get a guy who really, it doesn't pan out at all so far. Fumbled it one time, had a decent kickoff return last week. Outside of that, 4 pass blocking snaps, one pass blocking snap, 4 passing snaps overall wise. Just wish they would have went out and actually got someone like, I know you're not going to get Mad Max Crosby because the Raiders always said he's not, available to trade for. But someone, man, just get someone. Get Chase Young. If you're going to go get somebody, get someone, out there who can actually help you right now. But pass blocking grades, again, like I said, Amarius Mims, 64.8, Cody Ford, 63, Kappa, 59.6. Yeah, not what you want to see in the slightest. Run blocking wasn't much better. Yes, we did actually run the ball pretty efficiently last night, but even then, our run blocking grades were piss poor, to say the least. Let's look at run defense. Run defense, Mike Hilton. But again, I've said this over and over and over again. We can't let Mike Hilton go. If Mike Hilton leaves us and in free agency, because he is on the contract year, I mean, you can kiss your defense completely goodbye next year. He is single-handedly holding down the fort in any circumstance possible when it comes to our run defense. He is our guy. Like, completely, he is the guy. Joseph Asai did also have a good night. Nice. Sam Hubbard had the worst night. Cam Taylor-Britt, who got benched, did also have an awful night. Miles Murphy, love to see him having great nights. Geno Stone, who cannot run support to save his life. Neither can Von Bell. Jordan Battle had a 62. So even, he only had 3 runs blocking snaps or run defensive snaps, period. The best pass rushing grades, ironically enough, with 1 pass rush was Cam Taylor-Britt. Obviously, sample size matters. We really, other than Trey Hendrickson, Mike Hilton, again, 69 on 3 different pass blocking approaches. That's, again, we can't lose him. We really can't. He is one of those situations where we can utilize him in every spot possible, and we do, for good reason. Cam Taylor-Britt, before he got benched, he did have a 43.9 coverage grade. Listen, at the end of the day, PFF grades need to be looked at with a grain of salt. Okay? Sample size ruins them. Sometimes when you go back and watch a film, which we will do throughout this week, when you watch a film, you realize that guy didn't look that bad that game, and yet he'll have an awful PFF score, right? PFF, how I look at the scores is it's an indication of the overall performance for the night. I wouldn't say, okay, well, this guy had an awful performance because he had an awful grade. But you could tell, okay, well, this guy probably didn't play the best, right? You got to get a generalized look at it. You can't look too much into them, but you got to look at the generalized look. DJ Turner, who also got hurt, had the best night. Jordan Battle played 24 snaps last night, which is kind of not the most, but it's a lot more than he has throughout this season, so that's good. There's a lot of things that we need to look into and work on and fix across the board. And last night, I think, was the nail in the coffin. I did put a community post out on my a community poll out to ask you guys if you think we should fire Zac Taylor. And 85% of you said yes. And again, I will stand to my beliefs. I do not believe we need to fire Zac Taylor, but I think Zac Taylor needs to just be a coach. I don't think he needs to be an offensive coordinator. I don't think he needs to be a knockoff GM. Okay? And I think his ego needs to get in check when it comes to him calling offense. And I think we need somebody in here, an actual offensive coordinator, not a puppet, not Dan Pitcher, not Brian. We need an actual offensive coordinator in here that has a personality, who can fight back against coach, who can voice his opinion, and not only that, someone who has a track record. I would love to say that someone is Ben Johnson, but I highly doubt Ben Johnson is going to leave the Detroit Lions unless it's a head coaching job. So if you want Ben Johnson, you have to fire Zac Taylor. You have to. And that's going to be a decision that the front office is going to have to make. If Ben Johnson is interested in coming here, I will tell you right now, although I am fully heartedly saying I think we should keep Zac Taylor, Ben Johnson would make us better. Plain and simple. He's a great offensive-minded head coach. He would make our offense a lot better. We would have a lot more schematic plays throughout the game that would be better. He's great at situational football. He's great at, in the clutch football. And I think decision-making, he is up there with one of the best. That is definitely an option, right? Again, that's something that front office has to figure out and has to go through. But I still will get behind. I want to keep Zac. I just don't think Zac needs to have as much control as he has. I think we need to demote him when it comes to how much power he has. I don't like that he calls offense. And I've been saying that since now 2 years now, pretty much. I've been saying I do not think Zac Taylor should call offensive plays. I think he should still be the head coach. I still think he's a good leader. I still think he's a good head coach, but I don't think that he knows what he's doing in a couple of key different situations. He's not good at situational football. He's not good at calling plays in the clutch. He's not good at calling plays when it matters the most. He's not a coordinator. I can't stress enough. He's not good as a coordinator. I don't know, because he played quarterback in college, he thinks that is a concept that works. He was with the Rams, and maybe he thinks that mentally that works. He's not good at it. He's bad. He's awful. He's trash. It doesn't make him a bad head coach, but what he needs to do is just do your job of being head coach. You don't need to mingle into other things. You're not good at it. It is what it is. So if, we said, hey, listen, Zac, you are no longer touching the offense, and we brought in someone, an offensive coordinator that knew what they were doing, has a track record, is proven to be successful, and Zac just shut up and sit back and let the guy work, I think we'd be a great team. I think we would be even better offense than we are now, and we wouldn't be in these situations. Now, there is still a problem on defense. There is. And I still fully hearted will tell you, I do not believe it's Lou Anarumo. I don't think so. I don't believe so. I think the front office has done a piss poor job of giving Lou any ammunition to work. We had the best free safety in the league, Jesse Bates. They let him walk. We had the one of the best defense tackles in the league, even coming off injury, DJ Reader, let him walk. You can't spend all your money on offense and none on defense and expect your defense to go out there and play great football. I don't care what scheme you have. You're not going to be able to win that way. Now, there is a quote from Bill Belichick way back in the day. He said, players win games, coaches loses them. And I do believe that. I especially believe that with Zac Taylor. But I think there's only so much you can do when you don't have good players. And I think there's a lot of issues with our defense. And I think it's a lot more than just a simple fix, as we heard from one of our players earlier this year. I think it's a very, very deep thing you have to figure out. And it's not an overnight process. I know as football fans, you want it to be bam, 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 fix this, real quickly, right? Just real quick fix. This is not a quick fix. This is a long, thought out, you got to draft better. You got to get some fundamental pieces in there through the draft that's going to be able to blossom into young stars. You have to hit your draft picks. I love the idea of, we tell Joe to give us $60 million from his money and let's go spend in free agency. That does not work. Building in free agency is a Band-Aid you put on the problem, and the problem is an absolute full-on dam cracked. Like, imagine a dam and there's a huge crack in it and you put a Band-Aid on it. That's how free agency works. Free agency, you spend way too much money, you're bidding against other teams, your cap is crap, and you can't do it long term. The only way you're successful in this league is by building through the draft. And mainly, it's the day 2 picks. The 3rd round, all the way to the 7th round, the 2nd round included, that's the real big part of the draft. A lot of people love the 1st round. The 1st round, all these stars, all these cool guys. That's not how you win. Yes, you want to get a playmaker. Yes, you want to get a superstar. But one player does not make a 53-man roster and does not take them to excel them to beyond the greatest levels. Unless it's a quarterback, but that's beside the point. Every other position, no. I have the best strong safety in the league. Cool. You don't have an offense. You don't have a defense. You have no defensive line. You have no offensive line. You're not going to do good. You have to build in those day 2 picks. Because day 1, again, 1st round picks, they cost a lot. They cost a crap ton. You get that 4th, 5th year option, but they cost a lot. Day 2 picks and day 3 picks, they cost a lot less. And those are the guys you have to build up and really get going. And that's how you make your franchise good. And we need to build. It's not going to be go out there and spend $600 million on one player and that's going to fix the problem, because everything around him is going to crack. Everything else is going to crack and fall apart. We have good building blocks. We do. Logan Wilson is a great building block. Trey Hendrickson is a great building block. Mike Hilton, a little bit older, but he's a good core building block. Dax Hill, great core building block. We need BJ Hill as well. We need to use those building blocks, put guys in there that we can develop and train and get to that level. Now, that's the next problem, right? And it comes with the offensive line as well. We always talk about Frank Pollock. We always talk about this. You have to have guys on the coaching staff that can train these guys to play at a high level, to get to a high level. Because even, I would say the best players, because usually the best players, Will Anderson Jr., these are the young studs that come out of the draft, they're really good first-round picks. They usually can already play at a high level. But some of these other guys, these 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th-round picks, those guys you have to train. You have to develop. You have to take them, mold them, and create something out of them. Some of them, they need that guidance to be successful. And obviously, if the player sucks, he's never going to be good. But some of them have real potential. They're projects. And you have to have the guys on the coaching staff that can develop those type of guys. We see this all the time. Players get drafted 4th, 5th, 6th round, and it looks like they're not going to be good. Oh, no one talking about them. They end up being not the best players, but they end up being core building block players. And that's what you need. It's not, a team is not always successful because they have household names. Look at the Detroit Lions. List off 10 players within the Detroit Lions defense that you can think of right now, and guess what? Their defense is amazing. And you can't list off 10. You know why? Because they have guys who are underrated, who are non-household names, but they're getting the job done, and they're very good players. Because the Lions build these guys up. They develop them. They take these guys that no one knows about, and they make them something special. Yeah, there's going to be a couple first-round picks in there. There will be, right? Any defense that's successful is going to have that. But there is a lot of other core principles that they take with these other guys that maybe are 5th, 6th round picks, and they become very good rotational pieces. They become a cog in the system. If you have a system and all your cogs are awful and they suck, you're not going to be successful. Even if you have the greatest building of all time, the greatest, everything else is great, right? Everything else is perfect. But your system, your cogs, your gears aren't good. You need everything to blend together. Everything balances off each other. It's like offense. You run the ball, if you can't run it, you can't pass it. If you can't pass it, you can't run it. Everything works together. It's unison. That's my whole principle on how I feel. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Make sure you tip your waitresses. If you see Zac Taylor in you see him in a maid's outfit, tip him extra. He needs it.